You caused a stir this week when you told an Iowa radio station that President Obama was wrong to order a secret raid to get bin Laden without telling the Pakistani government first. Let's listen.
I don't think it was necessary, no.
No, it wasn't necessary to do it.
It was absolutely not necessary, and I think respect for the rule of law and world law, international law.
You really believe that we could have trusted, let me just ask the question, you really believe we could have trusted the Pakistanis not to warn bin Laden?
Well, not under today's circumstances is a big problem, but see, you distorted that. You said it was wrong. That is not, I didn't even use the word wrong. I said it could have been done differently, and it should have been. I mean, how about colleague?
You said it was not necessary. It was absolutely not necessary. Yeah, and then you talked about the rule of law.
Okay, but that's different than saying it's wrong. I'm just saying there was another way of doing it. So let me explain.
Well, I know, but I'm asking you, do you think that if we had told the Pakistanis that they would have kept our secret?
Well, go by history. Did they help us arrest about 15 other vicious criminals and deliver them? The people that were responsible for the bombing in 1993, they have captured them and bring them to us. Colleague Sheikh Mohammed. They helped us capture him. But, you know, why are we having trouble with the government? Why are we stirring up a civil war in Pakistan? It's because we've been bombing him. This emphasizes so clearly what I'm talking about my foreign policy. I'm saying that when you bomb a country, you violate their security, their national security, and their sovereignty. We're doing that. At the same time, we're giving them billions of dollars. Then you wonder why the government gets in trouble with their people. So I would say that why didn't we do it like we did with George Bush? He did it, and he used the Pakistani government, and we arrested these people, and they've been convicted.
We got a minute left, and I got to ask you. I just want to ask you one more question in this regard, sir. Some of your biggest supporters are from the Tea Party. Judson Phillips, who is the head of the Tea Party Nation, says you're flat wrong about warning the Pakistanis first and getting their permission. He said this: if there is any doubt, Ron Paul should not even get near the Oval Office, even on a tour of the White House. He has just revealed it. Well, that's from the Tea Party.
If you use him as a spokesman for the Tea Party, then he's a Johnny-come-lately. He doesn't have the vaguest idea about the people who rally around me and what the young people are thinking. The people from 18 to 25, they're sick of this. They're sick of this spending. They want somebody to stand up and say no to the spending, no to our foreign policy, and yes to liberty, and yes to our Constitution. When we have that, we will have reformed, and we will have our true revolution that we need.
Congressman Paul, we want to thank you so much for coming in today. Good luck on the campaign trail. Please come back, sir.
You're welcome.
For now, let us not deal with Mr. RuPaul's notions of blowback, or his isolationist, anti-interventionist policies, nor his love affair with one CIA voice, Michael Scheuer. Nor will we deal with his lack of knowledge and history of Pakistan's intelligence service, otherwise known as the ISI, who, while officially our allies, sponsored the Mumbai bombings, or how they are neck-high in Al-Qaeda, and like to play both sides of the fence, and who are at this point of the game no longer in a cold war with the CIA, but are now in an outright open conflict. Expect t-shirts to be sold as CIA versus ISI, much like the Army versus Navy games here in the US, but of course for much higher stakes and whose losses have dire consequences for the loser. Nor will we address his forgetfulness of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed's name or its pronunciation, because he just isn't that well learned about the region of the world, nor does he quite frankly give a damn. Instead, let us deal with his criticism of U.S. policy towards Pakistan's sovereignty. Declan Walsh in Islamabad, working for The Guardian, Monday, May 9, 2011. Osama bin Laden mission agreed in secret 10 years ago by U.S. and Pakistan. U.S. forces were given permission to conduct unilateral raid inside Pakistan if they knew where bin Laden was hiding, officials say. The U.S. and Pakistan struck a secret deal almost a decade ago, permitting a U.S. operation against Osama bin Laden on Pakistani soil, similar to last week's raid that killed the Al-Qaeda leader, The Guardian has learned. The deal was struck between the military leader General Pervez Musharraf and President George Bush after bin Laden escaped U.S. forces in the mountains of Tora Bora in late 2001, according to serving and retired Pakistani and U.S. officials. Under its terms, Pakistan would allow U.S. forces to conduct a unilateral raid inside Pakistan in search of bin Laden, his deputy Ayman al-Zawahiri, and the Al-Qaeda number 3. Afterwards, both sides agreed Pakistan would vociferously protest the incursion. There was an agreement between Bush and Musharraf that if we knew where Osama was, we were going to come and get him, said a former senior U.S. official with knowledge of counterterrorism operations. The Pakistanis would put up a hue and cry, but they wouldn't stop us. The deal puts a new complexion on the political storm triggered by bin Laden's death in Abbottabad, 35 miles north of Islamabad, where a team of U.S. Navy SEALs assaulted his safe house in the early hours of the 2nd of May. Why that's in the story I don't know. It seems quite obvious to everyone by now. Pakistani officials have insisted they knew nothing of the raid, with military and civilian leaders issuing a strong rebuke to the U.S. If the U.S. conducts another such assault, Prime Minister Yousef Raza Gulani warned Parliament on Monday, Pakistan reserves the right to retaliate with full force. Days earlier, Musharraf, now running an opposition party from exile in London, emerged as one of the most vocal critics of the raid, terming it a violation of the sovereignty of Pakistan. But under the terms of the secret deal, while Pakistanis may not have been informed of the assault, they had agreed to it in principle. A senior Pakistani official said it had been struck under Musharraf and renewed by the army during the transition to democracy, a 6-month period from February 2008 when Musharraf was still president, but a civilian government had been elected. Referring to the assault on bin Laden's Abbottabad compound, the official added, "As far as our American friends are concerned, they have just implemented the agreement." The former U.S. official said the Pakistani protests of the past week were the public face of the deal. "We knew they would deny this stuff." The agreement is consistent with Pakistan's unspoken policy towards CIA drone strikes in the tribal belt, which was revealed by the WikiLeaks U.S. embassy cables last November. In August 2008, Gulani reportedly told the U.S. official, "I don't care if they do it, as long as I get the right people. We'll protest in the National Assembly and then ignore it." From the Telegraph, WikiLeaks Pakistan privately, this is not from the WikiLeaks website, this is from the Telegraph. WikiLeaks, Pakistan privately approved the drone strikes. U.S. Special Forces fought side by side with Pakistani soldiers, and the government in Islamabad privately approved drone strikes while publicly condemning the CIA's covert raids, according to the WikiLeaks diplomatic cables. The revelations of America's secret war in Pakistan will deeply embarrass President Asif al-Zardari, who has long denied such deep cooperation with Washington for fear it would embolden Islam's opposition to his feeble government. In public, both sides have described putting American boots on the ground as a red line issue. However, a cable sent by then U.S. Ambassador to Islamabad, Ann Patterson, states that Pakistan has twice requested American soldiers to embed with its frontier corps in North Waziristan and South Waziristan, areas dotted with Taliban and al-Qaeda bases. On both occasions, Pakistan asked for the help of U.S. Special Forces to provide intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, including video footage from drones to its troops. On one mission, they helped the Pakistani soldiers target an enemy base with artillery. These deployments are highly politically sensitive because of widely held concerns among the public about Pakistani sovereignty and opposition to allowing foreign military forces to operate in any fashion on Pakistani soil, she wrote. Should these developments and or related matters receive any coverage in the Pakistani or U.S. media, the Pakistani military will likely stop making requests for such assistance. A second cable describes a 2008 meeting with Sayyid Yousef Raza Gulani, Pakistani Prime Minister, in which he brushes aside concerns about the use of predator drones against targets in the tribal areas and gives an insight into how he would deny any cooperation. "I don't care if they do it as long as they get the right people. We'll protest in the National Assembly and then ignore it," he told Ms. Patterson. There have been more than 100 drone strikes so far this year as the Obama administration steps up its covert use of predators in the skies over Pakistan. Publicly, Pakistan has insisted the strikes are unhelpful, while America has refused to confirm the existence of the CIA program despite the visibility of the strikes.